Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Epic Your Life community mentorship. And we always bring you some incredible nuggets and things that we're learning and growing in. Our community's growing. How can you tell? The leadership's growing. And so they are sharing, and we have incredible couples that share what they are going through and the things the wins and the losses, because it's real. We all go through wins, we all go through losses. And we talk about 3C methodology and balance, the three things we balance in life. The 3C methodology has to do with communication, confidence, communication, commitment, confidence, communication, commitment, confidence, communication, commitment. I say that just so you'll remember. Okay. I say it over and over and over and over. And the three things in life that we balance is our dreams, our rest, and our cash flow or work, money. Got to have those three to have a good, balanced, incredible, awesome life. There's a lot of things that can go under that, but rest is like peace, and dreams are what do I want in life and going after, and why am I working so hard, right? Why am I working, making all this money? For what purpose? Obviously, that's why we have dreams. That's why we have rest. Yes, good to have balance between the three, but 3C methodology needs to be developing simultaneously to have a good confidence, allows you to communicate better, which allows you to be committed to things. And so today we're going to be sharing with all of y'all that join us each week, or some of you are new, some of you may be repeat, some of you may be new to the community, some of you may be new to what we do, but we're glad you're here. The community mentorship is always where we deliver nuggets. And like I said, it's people that are learning this process that are delivering it with us now, not just Chantel and I, and not just Jesse and Irina, but now other couples as well. And one of them is Jabel and Christina Miller. The Millers, I always say it's Miller time. Some of you might get that. Some of you may not. It's okay. So we're here today. And what we want to address and talk about is commitment, the big C of commitment, right? 3C methodology: confidence, communication, commitment. Today, we're going to talk about commitment and how that brings results, and what it looks like to give birth to something. Give birth to something takes about, in the physical world of having a child, a woman gets pregnant, and then 9 months later, she has a baby. Which brings me to my next point. Why do we say a child is a year old 9 months after they're actually born instead of, 12 months after they're born instead of 3 months? I don't know. Things that make you go, When they're 3 months old, we should say, look, yeah, celebrate. You've been in the world for a year. Right? Conception. Anyways. Oh, well. Jabel, how you doing, bro?
Hey, doing good. How's it going?
Glad you're here, man. Thanks for being here and be willing to share. You had some exciting things happen. But I think we should start from the beginning in the sense of, you've been around, first of all, the community here and working with Chantel and I and Jesse and Irina. Did we just figure it was about 3 years now, or is it 2.5? How far is it?
It would be about 2 years.
2 years? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was in October. I think we signed up first in October 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that would be 2021, I think. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And Jesse was pretty committed, the big C, committed to pursuing you guys. Jesse was. He knew you from living in Libby, Montana, because that's where you live, right?
Yes.
And so Jesse Kaufman was pretty committed to pursuing you guys, because it wasn't October 2021 when you first heard from Jesse. I think it was probably like 2020 October. He pursued you guys for a while.
My wife had been following him for a couple months, or probably close to 6, 8, 10 months. Just things that Jesse and Irina were posting, or he wasn't married was he? Yeah, I guess he was married at that time. So we
in November. So
okay,
November it'll be 3 years for them married.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it was about a year after Jesse and Nadina signed on, we came in the picture. Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So almost 2 years we've been working together, and yeah, it's been an awesome journey. And through this journey, it's been pretty awesome just to see your transformation in your lives, and your pursuit of obviously having a child is kind of one of your priorities, one of your dreams, right? So talk about balance, your dream, and then we're going to talk about commitment, what that looks like. So let's start with your journey. Like, you guys decided you would like to adopt. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, that was actually kind of funny. That same fall, let's see, December of that same year, we also kind of um, that's when we kind of made the decision to start on our adoption journey. Um, and so we had been done a vacation. Kind of what triggered everything at the beginning, very beginning, was honestly we were on vacation in Cancun, and what kind of started everything was just seeing the little Mexican kids down there, and just imagining what it would be like to live in their shoes, and not having a lot, and the towns that we were passed through, and kids playing everywhere and things like that, and it just kind of pulled at our heartstrings. That's kind of where we started thinking about what would it be like to adopt a child, and if it was a biracial child, or if it was um, not like us, a little different. That would be so amazing. And so it just began to grow from there. And in October, we signed up with you guys, Connection DNA, and began doing that. Now, Epic Your Life. So, um, yeah. So that it's kind of ironic how both of those journeys started at the same time, and then
That is. I didn't realize they were so close together. The adoption or the decision. So you were in Cancun when then? Right before
in August. We were in August. We were in
Wow.
Cancun.
Okay, so that was where the vision was birthed of, man, how cool would it be to adopt a child? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's kind of where coming home from that was kind of where that started. Um, that was an anniversary, 5-year anniversary trip, and so yeah, December we kind of started. We signed up with you guys in October. December, we were looking into what does this whole thing look like. We had no clue where to start, what to do, how to do it. We knew nothing about adoption or anything. Didn't even, like. So we were just trying to see where would be a good place to start, and so we came across a Christian adoption consulting firm, which that's what they do. They help people who know nothing to start that process, and so we found them in December, and in January we were set up with them, and they kind of directed us into what the next steps looked like for getting set up, and all the education and the paperwork and everything that needs to happen to prepare for that. So
let's just look at this real quick. I want to interrupt you because I want to set the stage here, because I think there's a lot of people that are joining us or will see this recording that can agree and understand that they have dreams. They have things they want to go after and things they want to accomplish in their life. And when you first embarked on this, you didn't know what you didn't know. And I can totally relate. Same thing with Chantel and I working on having a child as well. And it's interesting, like when you have something like this, you're like, you have all these excuses in your head, right? And even once you start the process, then they can even get bigger sometimes. Like it's like, well, what does it cost? What's the process? I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, right? What you seek, you'll find. So you were open, though. That was the first thing. You guys were open. It's like, okay, let's go explore this. Let's go look into it because we don't know what we don't know. Then you found out some things that wasn't very cheap in the States to adopt a child. Is that correct? Like cheap compared.
Yeah.
How much is a life worth? I mean, so worth it. However, you would think, well, I'm adopting this child that, needs
Yeah.
adopting. So we automatically assume it's free, or the government subsidizes all these things and you just get a child.
Mhm.
And it's like no cost. Hey, I'm going to give them a life. I'm going to help them. I mean, it's real. These things are what people sometimes think. Not the case in
Right.
the United States. Now, there's a lot of documents, paperwork. The thing that I think is brilliant is you were willing to invest. We'll get in that in a second, but I think it's awesome that now that you even said that, I'm like, wow. So you got mentorship in relationships and connection in your marriage for marriage mastery, which with us, working with us. And then, because you were already married, 5-year anniversary just happened, which is so mature that you have such a good marriage. You're ready for epic and mastery level. And then how that started impacting your life to open up your eyes to more things you wanted to dream bigger. And then now all of a sudden, here you are looking into having a child, adopting a child. Something was planted in you. You went after it. Then you
Mhm.
discovered, well, if I'm going to hire a mentor for marriage, and look at what the results are happening. Now it's wise to hire a mentor or a counselor or a consultant, excuse me, in adoption. That's really wise. If you want to get it done, hire a consultant. So that's what you did. And then you found out some things as you did your research. Let's
Right.
enlighten people about the cost of an average cost of an adoption in the United States.
So there's so there's different things you can there's different many different ways you can approach adoption, and then there's so whether it's international or whether it's adopting a child that's a young child that's 3, 4, 5 years old, or whether it's adopting a baby, a newborn. So there's these different stages, and costs vary between all of that. I think infant adoption is probably the most expensive. We didn't know that at the time, but the more we researched it, the more it was like, man, we really want a baby
Yeah.
from birth, and like that's just really what we wanted. And so, did you want me to say how much it costs to do that?
Well,
Like
on average,
it's
just give us an average range. Is it a
it's
thousand to
probably
5,000, or is it 20
on
to
average
50?
for infant adoption, you're looking at 30 to 50,000 um, to do that. And this was right after COVID, so prices were a little bit had just changed a little bit, and and so before you get too caught up in that number, like I just want to say, like, don't that seems like an astronomical number for you know if you're brand new to this concept or brand new to the idea of adoption, or whether it be an infant or a child. But the main thing for us is, yeah, that was a kind of a big thing when we first like came to grips with that. But I was so glad we had mentors in our lives that we could take those struggles too and say, look, this is like crazy. Like, how do we work through this? And so they helped us. Carlos and Chantel did that as well. And then, our adoption consultants saying there's many things you can apply for financing and all the things. There's loans that people give. Just there's organizations that help people adopt, try to subsidize some of the cost. Um, and so, but we also knew that that wasn't why we weren't into the adopt just because it was cheap, or
Right.
because we found a good deal somewhere. Like that was not the reason at all. And so we didn't know how this was going to all happen, but we knew it's what we wanted to do. And that was something we were willing to work for, to make that happen, to get the money together and and do that. You didn't have to have it up front, but there was just steps you took to kind of achieve that. So we yeah, we began the process of just applying for all the different things we needed to
So there's
needed to
multiple.
get.
There's multiple steps you went through. But the
Mhm.
first thing you did is you made a decision. You figured out what you
Right.
wanted. I create what I want. Figured out what you wanted. You made a decision, right? And then you took action on it. And again, I think that's super important for people to hear right now, right here. He made a decision, and this was not yesterday, by the way.
No.
This is not a week ago. This is not a month ago. This was over a year ago. We're talking October 2020.
2021.
So we're in 2023. So it's almost
Yeah,
two
so
years.
it's
Almost.
almost 2 years.
So I
Yeah.
want people to hear that because, again, you had help.
Actually,
Go ahead.
yeah. Technically, it would have been technically it would have been like January of 22 when we
Yeah.
started.
So again, over a year and a half now. Like, it's crazy to think about that, but it's real. Like, it's not overnight. But you made a decision, you got committed, didn't know how it was going to happen, but you made the decision, started moving forward, tapping into resources, asking questions, and you were committed.
Right.
Committed to the process of whatever it would take to see this through. And I want to talk about that because it's fascinating to see then all that took place. Not only were you able to get the funds, you've had more savings than ever, and then you kept investing in Marriage Mastery, and then you're part of our legacy group. I'm like, oh my gosh, you go from how the heck are we going to be able to afford this to then more than enough.
Right. Absolutely.
It's awesome, bro. Like, it really is a testimony to when God will provide, God will make a way, but we've got to start going down the way. We can't just expect them to deliver something that we don't make room for or allow him to deliver it. So it's really awesome to see your action steps. You guys move forward, and then you kept taking action. And each time you took a step towards that and more engaged in this and more costs and more things, it just kept getting bigger. Your territory got bigger. Your finances have gotten bigger. That's phenomenal, bro. So now,
Well, I want to say it's tied to a lot of that is tied to mindset, because you're thinking, okay, how in the world am I ever going to make this save this much money and like have this all saved up? Like, this is just never going to work. But like what you've always said, Carlos, and I've seen it happen in the past year and a half is, when your mindset shifts, the fruit also comes out it happens in your mindset. I mean, the money you make is a result of your mindset, basically. So like that can be taken many different ways, but I won't get into that. But the thing is, if you learn to have freedom in, the way you think about things and how you process that, and I don't know, just many different things. When your mindset shifts, that releases, that has a monetary impact in your life, and that we've actually noticed that,
yeah,
because you're being set free in your mind to make decisions. You're being set free to do what you want and to decide, right, really fast decisions that benefit you. And if you're stuck, and that ultimately creates wealth for you, because whether it's at the job or whatever you do, that creates a flow, and the flow brings success, whether it's money or success in your relationships or whatever you're involved in. But it's directly tied to mindset as well. So, because I mean, if I look back in the last year and a half, all the things we've invested in, with mentorships and then the adoption, and then a number of other things. We got a new car and just the different things. Our life just was upgraded.
Trips,
but our
vacation,
mindset was upgraded, and our finances followed that. So yeah, we can, the money didn't come from Carlos, I'll tell that. I'll tell you that. But the process, they pushed us into the process of, hey, here's what you can do if you do this. Just try it out, see what happens. And if you really are open to learning and growing, change happens, and change a lot of good change. Yeah, is very beneficial in all areas of your life. So I just wanted to point that out because that all that is tied to mindset. Even the process of going through the adoption process is like, no, we're in this to see this through to the end,
Yes.
no matter what it takes. The deeper we got into it, the more committed we became. So, but yeah, it starts with the decision, and that's very crucial.
So you started taking action. January, and each level you started taking more action. In January, you started saying yes, but then even saying yes to having.
That's January of this year. You talking
That's
about
right,
this year?
this year. Yep.
Okay.
Because they had to
Yeah.
set things up for the adoption. They had to fill out documents, paperwork. They had to create the profile, their identity of who they are, and we're
That
running
was
out of time. But I want to set it
took
up.
about July of last year to get all that set up.
Yeah. And then by January this year, they were starting to figure out who, when, where, and it was like, okay, next decision. Do you want a child or do you want specific this, that, this, or do you want a child? Like so they started saying yes. Now, I want to get to that because I think it's important for people listening too. Again, what are you limiting yourself by not starting to say yes towards your dreams? And they started saying yes over and over because once you say yes, doesn't mean it's going to happen the first time. Would you agree with that, Jabo?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And they were open to it finally. Your actions prove your belief system. They finally believed that they and took action on what they wanted in the next step, because it's all steps in life, the process. It's all about the climb. It's all about the process. They started saying yes to children, and it took 9 months. Here we are. And where are you now? Or what was it? Start us with, we got a few more minutes here. Start with Wednesday of last week. You were hitting a roadblock, felt like quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that and then what happened.
Yeah, so we've been processing through some updates that we had to do because we were at the 1 year mark from when we got official with our paperwork. So we were processing through a bunch of updates. We were getting stuff back that was incorrect. We had to fix some things. It was really frustrating, and we were wanting to get it done and corrected because we had adoption cases we wanted to say yes to, but we couldn't because all the things. So it was really heavy time, and Wednesday of a week ago, yes, some friends of ours were praying, and we just reached out to just for some prayers and support. Like this is getting like to be a lot. But then so we reached out for some prayer, and then went about our day. And a few hours later, after that, we get a call from an email from agency we're working with who said they have a birth mom who wants to connect with us. They love who we are, what we presented to them, and they want to connect with us. And that was for us, that was a huge deal because because that was the first time we had that type of interaction, or we had any type of message like that from one of our agencies we were working with. So that in itself was a breakthrough for us, and it was just very incredible. And so turns out we had a short introduction call with a mom that saw our profile and was interested in us.
The new profile.
Following day. What's that?
The new profile.
Yeah. So part of that update was updating our book that gave a presentation about our life, who we are, our profile. We had just done that as well. And we only had the electronic copy of it. We didn't have our books yet because they were printed wrong. That was part of the frustration because they were printed wrong. But we presented with our electronic file, and this mom saw that and loved it and wanted to talk to us. And yeah. So next day we chatted with her, and she had a very good conversation, and it ends up about a week ago, we get confirmation that she wants to connect with us and have us be her adopted family for her baby that is being born here real soon. And that was an amazing time for us because we just had this, it felt just like this incredible breakthrough come just within a short few days from like the one of the hardest points in our process of adoption, trying to fight through our paperwork that was out of date, trying to renew our books that had our presentation books, and just getting all of that processed and up to date. And then we weren't sure how long this was going to take. Are we going to have to go another 6 months, another year? What's going to happen here? And then it just felt like God touched on the moment and just released. There was just a release. And
Less than 24 hours from the time you felt like it was getting overwhelmingly too much frustration, less than 24 hours, you got a green light. A yes
right.
back. And how many no's did you encounter along the way for 9 months? Almost 9 months.
We probably processed through probably around 20 or 25 cases overall that were
That's awesome.
either no's or we weren't
Not a
we
fit.
weren't able to connect with.
So what if you
yeah,
you said, well, I'm never going to say yes until I find the perfect one. See, it's just so crazy. Your commitment is what made all the difference. And your commitment was proven by your actions. The miracle came because you were willing to take action and keep taking action. And I also want to talk about, even just close with this, because there's people watching and listening that have dreams and they're like, it's never going to happen, man. Like, it feels that way at times. It's real to feel that way. It's real to get frustrated and everything's shaken up. You feel like your whole world's going to come apart. And that's the beauty of nature. We can see it in nature. We know that right before breaking through the sound barrier, that many people have died because they pulled back, and whatever they're driving to go through the sound barrier in nature, right? They pull back and it blows up, or it does come apart. Where when they push through that last little bit, even when you think you can't do it anymore, you go one more time. You're like, let's do one more time. Like every time you saw one more, come on, just one more. Like, give me the strength, God, to do one more. And that one more created the result. When you're shaken up the most of any of the times and feeling dark and gloomy, that's when God brought the light. And even a lot of people know the story of 3 feet from gold, right? This could have been a very good excuse to quit because of all the things that were going wrong out of your control, by the way. Right. Jabel and Christina could not control it. The book was not getting printed right. They tried to correct it. And then the people printed it wrong again. They're like, time after time. It's like, and many people, I would even challenge, would say, see, it's not God's will. So the reality is that it takes commitment. Jabel, you had commitment. You pushed through. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if I think about it along this journey, the other 2 C's of confidence and communication are honestly what produces commitment. Because without that, they just walk together hand in hand. And honestly, this whole journey of going through this adoption process is you had to communicate, you had to be confident in who you are in order to create your profile to present, like, who are you? What are you about? Then you had to be committed to it. Like so basically we kind of had a reset at the beginning of the year, January, February is like, we're going to stop thinking about this. We're just going to go for it. We're going to do it, whatever, obviously we know what we want. We know what's going to work, what's not. We're going to go for it. We're going to say yes. And so once you make that decision, there's nothing else that's bigger than that. So the money, the time, the process, the paperwork, all the things become less than. and it's just a thing that you need to check off to complete your to go to your next your dream, to complete your dream of what your goal is. So it's not easy. It's hard, and the journey's not over yet. But we have been matched with this mom, and it's been the most crazy experience for us. And um, it's a dream. It's literally a dream fulfilled. And it wasn't some consultant that did it for us. We had to do that for ourselves. We had to decide for ourselves this is what we wanted, and we had to decide we wanted to do that. So yeah, I would say commitment is huge. And like Carlos said on the men's call the other week, you have to decide, then you commit, you act, and you succeed, and then you repeat it. So that's actually a pretty powerful strategy. We're actually going through a book. So like once you decide that that's out of the way, you don't have to think about it anymore. Then you commit to it, then you act to it, and then it brings success, because that's the fruit of that process. So
good.
Anyways, I'm thankful and grateful, and so
little decisions, baby. Congratulations with what so many would call a miracle. But I know that your commitment was so big, and which increased your confidence, which then increased your communication, which they all, like you said, flow together. I know even if it would have cost $1 million to get this child, that you would have done it, dude. I know it, because you were committed. And that's what's super powerful, to see that it's never about the money. It's never about the money. It's truly about your commitment, confidence, communication, then being able to communicate about it, to spread the word, not being afraid of it, because you're committed to the process and confident that people will even join you in this journey, right? And your mission. And like, it's super powerful to see all the ways people contributed, and all the ways that confidence led to you even communicating better, like you said, that gave you more business opportunities and growth in your income. It's amazing, bro. Congratulations. You're a great example to all of us. Thank you. Even me, myself, and I working with you, and it's a yoking process, man. I get to work and learn with you, and I get the opportunity to yoke with you, which I love that we have a God that says the same thing. Yoke with me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He wants to yoke with us. And it's a great equalizer and the leveling point. You've taught us so much through this process as well. So thank you for now being another incredible example. And thank you too for willing to come and share, tell the world about it. And even how you and Christina have also shared with our community, mentoring them on Thursdays, taking your turn to mentor this amazing community. So thank you so much, Abel, for all you're doing. Keep it up, bro. Just keep going after.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, it's good.
Closing? Anything closing?
Not really. I mean, we're inspired to the process that a lot of you guys learn at Epic Your Life, and you're doing the Epic 30 and everything like that. The content, listening to the content, that has been our mainstay throughout this whole journey. And so we would not be where we are at today without that. Just the mental maintenance isn't the right word, but just constantly refining, constantly improving, constantly saying, how can I make this better? How can I improve? That is just such a powerful concept. And so to not be held back by things, mindsets, and ideas, but instead use those to power your dreams and fulfill what you want to achieve, because it's real and it's powerful. So anyways.
So good, brother. Can you do me a favor? Can you just look into that camera you have right there? And I remember that Christina was on board before Jabel was, as far as doing this process. Jabel is a very powerful young man. You 2 years ago. What can you say to Jabel right now, looking into that camera? What can you say to yourself 2 years ago that would help you to have made a decision back then when you're like on the fence about this whole thing with Epic Your Life and working with Carlos and Chantel and Jesse and Irina? What would you say to yourself?
That's a good question. I would probably, boy, haven't thought about that before, but I would probably say something like, it's okay to trust. It's okay to trust, you guys, the people around you who are trying to help you and coach you. It's okay to trust that they have the best intentions in mind, and you don't know what you don't know, and so just receive and trust that the results you desire will come. If you can just receive and trust, basically. So I don't, probably not said very well, but that's what I would probably say to myself back then, because there's some mindsets I had to work through about, do these guys really have my best intentions in mind, and how's that all going to work, and all the things. But to just receive and trust that Papa's in control, and that he has the best in mind for you, and it's about empowering that in yourself. It's not about some religion or some newfangled idea of how to be self empowering or whatever. It's about receiving and the truth about yourself and trusting that.
Good. Super good.
So
thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. It's good stuff. Jabel, you're awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Yep.
Your example is so awesome, so incredible. And keep sharing. You're sharing so much with this community. Love it. Thank you. Bless you and Christina. Bless the new addition to the Miller family. It's pretty exciting, man. You're gonna be a daddy just a few more days away. It's no longer years. Yeah. It's a few days now.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. That's right. By this time next month, you'll have a baby in your arms, brother. That's crazy, right? Little Miller.
Amazing.
Start picking out names. Good, bro. Congratulations.
That's
man.
right.
God bless you, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Yeah. Epic Your Life, baby. Go do it. Jabel's doing it. You can do it too. We'll talk soon.